In this video, we're going to talk about Rule 654, prices move SL to SL. SLs, or Stanfield levels, are the most statistically significant support and resistance lines that you can draw on a chart. I'm going to show you a little bit of magic, but first of all, for this magic trick, I'm going to take you through some price projections for DOGE and a couple of other cryptos, including Bitcoin. DOGE is currently at 80.10. We would expect a bullish case 82.84 and a bearish case 75.93. XRP is currently 51.28, a bullish case 53.43 and a bearish case 49.48. With Solana currently trading at 101 and 70, a bearish case 97.23 and a bullish case 107.49. Ethereum is currently 24.23, a bullish case 24.63 and a bearish one 23.58. Bitcoin Cash is currently trading at 242 and 28, a bullish case 249 and 1581, and a bearish case 232, 38, 53. Bitcoin has been doing really well today. It's put on a heck of a rally. It's currently $44,732.45. We would expect a bullish case to come up to that 45,423 mark and a bearish case down to 41,960. Finally, rounding it out with Cardano ADA, which is currently 52.70, for a bullish case 54.65 and a bearish case 49.84. Rule 654, prices move from SL to SL. Stanfield levels are drawn up to show the most statistically significant support and resistance levels inside any financial chart. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but with the SLs on now. Before, when we looked at Doge, we saw that 82.84 down to 75.93. Let's pop on the indicator and see what we can see when we have X-ray vision on the market. We can see very clearly at 80.03 this particular SL playing through here, which has stopped price out. If this level gets turned to support, we would expect the higher levels to be tapped. If it doesn't and the bears gain control, we would expect price to be pushed down into this support area. Having X-ray vision just places you ahead of the pack all the time, and we can see that this specific SL has been a bit of a problem time and time again, but it's looking like it may be overcome. So what does that mean? Everything is about probabilities. We may see Doge challenging higher levels. When we looked at XRP, that particular area is between 49.48 and 53.43. Let's pop on the indicator again. Whoa, what do we see here? That's a really tough structural resistance level that XRP is seeking to overcome at the moment at 51.37. You can see how it got above but couldn't get to the higher ones and was pulled back. Because we've got such strong ones playing in at the moment, we become range bound. There's a lower one, a lower structural support level at 50.29. If we can't get above the current price and we get pulled back, that 50.29 level and even a little bit lower at 49.98 makes a lot of sense. But always remember, things can overshoot in the upward direction and in the downward direction. We've seen XRP has been respecting this level quite significantly, but from a probability stance, if it overcomes it, it has structural resistance at that 52.96 and just a little bit higher at 53.14. Again, if you don't have the X-ray vision, it's really difficult to tell where things could go. Looking at Solana, we see a lower range of 97.23 and an upper range of 107.49. Let's pop our X-ray vision on. We can see that Solana's had to come through so much structural resistance, seeking to turn it into support. This always weighs on any specific chart, coming through so many structural levels. It is very common to get pullbacks in these sort of situations. The good thing is, when we overcome structural resistance and turn it into structural support, that typically supports price quite strongly. But the key is, It has to come back and confirm this is support. This is a loss of support here. We would expect Solana to rally up and then come back and stay above this specific line at 101.77. That's very important. It needs to consolidate above 101.77. You can just think to yourself, wow, it would be so difficult to know where the structural support and structural resistance levels are. And of course, there's always more than one, and they have different weightings as well. Turning to Ethereum, which is currently 24.23 and 91 cents, we have an upper limit of 24.63 and 15 cents and a lower boundary of 23.58 and 54 cents. If the bulls get in control, what's happening here? Let's pop on our X-ray vision and seek to understand what's going on. We can see multiple levels of structural resistance overhead, and this 24.32 mark, even though we had a positive fresh air gap, and that explained that big green candle and then the shooting tails, which said, there's too many sellers right there. These are the most statistically significant lines on any chart that you'll ever find. When we look higher, we have to obey these structural levels because price is always moving SL to SL. If it gets above, it's going to the next one. But if it goes below, it's going to the one below. Again, try to predict where Ethereum's price would go without this. And what is the difference between what typically occurs inside markets? People look at recent indicative price and say, oh, there's a support level here and one there, resistance there and there and there. The problem is Ethereum has been trading for over 3,000 days, not just a week. When people use support levels from recent price, not all of price history, they create non-statistically significant support and resistance levels. That means they cannot be trusted. These SLs, or called Stanfield levels, these SLs are the most statistically significant lines on any chart that you'll ever find. Let's have a look at Bitcoin Cash. We can see a lower boundary at 232, an upper boundary at 249, and Bitcoin Cash is currently 242. Let's throw the structural indicator on and see what's been cooking with price. We can see as price got through a variety of structural resistance levels, it sought to turn it to support and go higher, but we couldn't get up to this specific level at 244.80 cents. What happened then? We tried to just consolidate, but we failed. We came down to another safety net. When prices go negative, you must know where the safety nets are. And when prices go positive, you need to know where the ceilings are, because, and especially the fresh air gaps. If you've got a positive fresh air gap between two structural support and structural resistance levels, price can just fly up, but it can also fly down. So you need to be aware of both sides of the equation. The reason that we look at structural support and structural resistance is because we're looking at all of price history. If we just look like this, we wouldn't have a clue on earth where the true resistance and true structural support was. A lot of people would say, our recent indicative price says there's a level of resistance here. Actually, it's a little bit lower than that. It's right there. And what about these levels? There's nothing on the chart to indicate resistance up here. What about support levels? You would think the support levels were through here. This is the problem with recent indicative price. Unfortunately, it RIPs your money. You can see the price has been trading for approximately 7 days, but the whole entire history of Bitcoin Cash is in excess of 2,300 days. If you take 7 days over 2361, you get a really, really low percentage. That's why it's non-statistically significant, and the whole of finance is statistical probabilities. Turning to Bitcoin, we can see an upper level at 45,423 and a lower level at 41,960. Let's throw on our X-ray vision. What can we see here? This very tough level of structural resistance. When it was playing, the price was below it. Structural resistance means price is below that particular line. Structural support means it's above it. Has this 44,000 been confirmed? The answer is not yet. It looks like it's confirmed, but it hasn't come back and retraced it. This is quite an important area. Also, this 43,850, that's important for Bitcoin as well. You can see how price is caught on these structural support lines, and we can see these structural support and structural resistance lines contain price momentum. This is why they're so important to know, and we're coming up to some really thick and heavy ones up here at around that 45,400 mark. So just please be aware of this. If you were looking at Bitcoin's price without the capability to see where the X-ray vision was, it would be incredibly difficult to predict price. You might try 7 days of history across 5,200 days, but that will mislead you. Looking at ADA, we've got an upper boundary of 54.65 and lower boundary, bare boundary, of 49.84. Let's have a look at what our X-ray vision tells us about the market currently. We can see that ADA has been well supported from this particular structural support level at that 4,700 mark. It came up and rejected resistance. That is when the price was trading back here. Tapped it, got above, but couldn't get back. This is an interesting thing and something to keep in mind. If a particular chart cannot confirm, this means that it's going to retrace the entire move. This is something to be very aware of. Therefore, it's incredibly important to know where your structural levels are and how strong they are. The thicker lines are always stronger than the thinner ones, and if they're clustered together, they become stronger as well. We can see now ADA is coming up to structural resistance at this 5,400 mark. If it can get above there, it can go further. But the thing is, we just look at everything from a short-term perspective, and if you want the elongated out to the end of the month, that's available inside the service. There's a tremendous amount of peace of mind when you understand where the true structural levels are, and ADA has been trading for in excess of 2,100 days, not 7 days. As an investor or a trader, it's very important to know where your structural levels are. If you don't know where they are, you're guessing. If you're guessing inside the market, that's very, very dangerous because you have literally no knowledge. It's like taking out a TATS ticket and hoping you'll win. And you'll see time and time again, price is just simply moving SL to SL, SL to SL. And this is the way it goes. When we get a confirmation, when we create a structural support level, that's very important because that signifies a trend change. This is a little bit of a different video, but I hope it's helped you out. Please let me know in the comments, where do you think Bitcoin and therefore crypto are headed in the next 24 hours? When you understand Rule 654, it's incredibly powerful. It takes all the stress and the guesswork out of any chart. Institutions always use statistically significant support and resistance lines. They do not use recent indicative price. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again in the next video. Bye for now.